The next algorithm is least recently used, that is LRU algorithm. So in the optimal algorithm we saw that we have to replace a page which is least going to use in future, and here in LRU we have to consider the past. So here we have to replace a page that is least recently used in the past. So in optimal we have to check whether it is going to be used in near future, and here we have to check in least recently used. We have to consider a page which is not recently used in the past. So again, to understand this algorithm we consider a same reference string, and we consider the same example of 3 page frames. So presently as usual we have 3 page frames. These are initially empty, so we load 7, after that we load 0, after that we load page 1, and after that when the request comes to load page 2, we don't have free space here. So out of these 3 pages I have to remove one page to get a space for 2. So presently we are discussing least recently used, means we have to consider the past frames, and the frame or the page which is not recently used or which is used in the past, we have to consider that for the replacement. So here out of the 701, so we know that recently used is 1, before that we have used 0, and before that we have used 7. So that's why out of the 701 the least recently used is 7. So we consider 7 for the replacement. So we remove this 7 from the frame and to create a space for this page 2. So as a result this 2 is placed in place of 7. So we have 201. So after this the next page to be loaded is 0. So already 0 is present, so no need to load this page. So the next request is to load page 3. So this 3 is not present, we have to load this. So again I have to create a space for this. So in order to create a space by using this LRU, we have to consider the previous pages. So before this 3, so out of this 201, so 0 is used, so before that 2 is used, and before that 1 is used. So clearly among this 2, 0 and 1, so recently 0 is used, before that 2 is used, and before that 1 is used, means 1 is used before 2 and 0. So that's why we have to consider 1 for the replacement. So here we replace this 1, and in place of 1 we place 3. So the pages are 203 in memory. So after this the next page request is for 0. So 0 already present, no need to load. So after that the next request is for 4. So again for 4 we have to create a space, a free space. We have to remove one page. So among this 203 we have to find a page which is least recently used. So before this 4 you just check where 0 the recently used. So before that we have used 3, and before that once again we have used 0, means 0 and 3 are recently used, and before that we have used 2. And here it is very clear that among this 203 this 2 is used before 0 and 3. So that's why we consider 2 for the replacement. So that's why we replace this 2 and we add 4 in place of 2. So the sequence comes 403, and after this the next request is for 2. So again we have to create a space, and which one is to remove now among 403, because see before this 2 recently we have loaded 4, and before that we have loaded 0, and before that we have loaded 3, means before this 0 and 4 3 is loaded. So that's why we have to replace this 3 and we have to add this 2. So in the same way the next pages will also be loaded in the same by using the same procedure. So this is least recently used algorithm. So next we'll see how to implement this LRU algorithm. So again the implementation may be by using the particular hardware. So there are some hardwares that support this particular algorithms implementation, and here out of those we can use a particular one, that is a counter. So in the simplest case, we associate with each page table entry a time of use field and add to the CPU a logical clock or counter. So here every page entry has a counter. So every time the page is referenced through this entry, the copy the clock into the counter, means the corresponding counter value is changed. And when a page needs to be changed, so we look at the counter to check which is the page that is used recently, and based on that we can determine the which page is to be changed. So it's a very simple approach. We have to just consider the approach here. We don't have a detailed discussion about this. So the next implementation is the stack implementation. So in the stack implementation, we keep a stack of the page numbers in a double link form. Why double link form means? Because we know that the stack is last in first out, so always the insertion and removal takes place at the top. But here we are using stack, but we know that the concept of stack is when you want to remove a particular item, you can remove only the top of stack. But here you may need to remove any item from the stack at any time. So that's why in order to ease this task, we will be using the double linked list for this, that is double link form. So here whenever a particular page is referenced, so we remove that page and we keep it that on the top. And here as per the observation, so it is observed that it requires 6 pointers to be changed in the list case. So no search for the replacement. We will consider an example for this. So here let us consider the reference string, and this is the content of the stack before a particular point, that is A. So here you can see the first 4 is added, after that 7, after that 0, after that again 7 is there, no need to add. So after that 1, after that 0 already there, no need to add. After that 1, no need to add. After that 2 is added. So after that 1, no need to add. After that 2, no need to add. So after this A, so after stack B, this is the particular content. So as per the discussion, we saw that whenever a particular page is recently used, we have to remove that page and we have to keep that on the top of the stack. Here top of the stack is this, and after this 2, when you want to use this 7 once again, what you have to do is you have to remove this 7 and you have to keep that on the particular top of the stack. So accordingly you have to arrange the remaining elements also. So that's why we saw that in order to implement a stack for this LRU, we have to use the double link approach. So in this way the stack can be used for implementing the LRU. So next we'll see some LRU approximation algorithms. So here there are some approximations, like we know that the few computer systems provide the sufficient hardware support for the LRU replacement, but most of the systems will not provide a particular support. So that's why here we use something called a reference bit. So this reference bit with each page associate a bit. So initially the reference bit is 0 for all the pages. So when a particular page is referenced, so the reference bit is set to 1 to indicate that that particular page is referenced. So they replace the one which is 0, means whenever it requires to change a particular page or to remove a particular page, so you have to search a page which is having the reference bit 0, means which is not referenced recently. So in this way you can use the reference bit for implementing the LRU. So one more version of this reference bit is the second chance implementation, that is second chance algorithm. So why the name second chance means it will give one more additional chance for a particular page. So here again, here also we need the reference bit and we use the clock replacement, and if the page to be replaced has a reference bit equal to 1, then set the reference bit to 0, leave the page in memory and replace the next page subject to the same rules. So as per the previous that is reference bit example, we saw that whenever it comes for replacing a page, we have to search a page which is having the reference bit 0. If the reference bit is 0, we will replace that with the new page. but let us consider the reference bit is not 0. So all the reference bits are 1. So in this case, what is to be done? So what we have to do is, so we have to make that particular reference bit as 0, and we have to leave that memory, and we have to consider the next page in the sequence. So this is how the second chance algorithm is implemented. So we'll see this example to understand the second chance algorithm. So you can see here, in order to implement this, we will be using the circular queue. Means after the end, again it will go back to the first page. So here you consider the reference bits. So presently reference bits are 0 0, and after this the next victim is having the reference bit 1. We know that if the reference bit is 0, you can directly remove that, but if it is 1, as per this algorithm, you have to reset to 0 and you have to consider the next page. So that is what done here in the figure B. So here previously it was 1, so we reset it to 0 0, and we will consider the next bit which is having the reference bit 0 for the replacement. So in this way the second chance algorithm will work. So next is nothing but the counting algorithm, that is counting implementation. So as we saw, we keep a counter of the number of references that have been made to the each page, and here we have the two subversions, that is the LFU, that is least frequently used, is going to replace the page with the smallest count, and most frequently used MFU, based on the argument that the page with the smallest count was probably just brought in and has yet to be used. Means here we will be using a counter to indicate the number of page count, the number of references. So the counter value indicates how many number of references are there. So in LFU, the page which is having the less value is chosen. In MFU, the page which is having the highest value is chosen. So next we will see the allocation of frames. So when it comes for the allocation of frames, so here a particular process needs the minimum number of pages. Means as far as possible, we have to load the minimum number of pages for a particular process. This is to increase the performance of the system. So let us consider an example of IBM 370, which uses only 6 pages to handle a particular move instruction. So here the instruction is 6 bytes and might span the 2 pages. So 2 pages to handle the from and 2 pages to handle the to. So the two major allocation schemes for this allocation of frames is the fixed allocation and the priority allocation. So in the fixed allocation, as the name itself indicates, it is also called as equal allocation. So here all the pages will be given the equal number of frames. For example, if there are 100 frames and 5 processes, so give each process the 20 frames. This is equal allocation. The another one is proportional allocation. Means allocate the frames proportionally, that is allocating according to the size of the process. So here let us consider SI indicates the size of a process PI, capital S indicates the summation of all the sizes of processes, M indicates the total number of frames. So here the allocation for PI, that is AI, is given by SI divided by capital S into M. So as an example, if we consider M as 64, SI as 10, S2 as 127, then A1 becomes 10 divided by 137 into 64, approximately 5, and A2 becomes 127 divided by 137 into 64, it is approximately 59. So the next one is priority allocation. So use a proportional allocation scheme using priority rather than size. Means along with the proportional allocation, you can add one more information of the priority, and here if the process PI generates a page fault, so select for the replacement one of its frames and select for replacement a frame from a process with the lower priority number. Means again we will be using the proportional allocation only, but instead of considering the size, because when there is a tie, we have to consider the process which is having the less priority. Next is global allocation and local allocation. So as the name itself indicates, global replacement means the process selects a replacement frame from the set of all frames, one process can take a frame from the another frame. So here the frames will be replaced or selected for the replacement from the different process also. So this is among the different processes also. So the next one is local replacement. So each process selects from only its own set of the allocated frames. Local means only within a particular process. Global means it may span the other processes frames also. So next we'll see thrashing. So here if the process does not have the number of frames it needs to support the pages in active use, so it will quickly page fault. At this point it must replace some, means if a process does not have the enough number of pages, the page fault rate is very high. Means let us consider again the same discussion. So if we consider only if a process is having only 4 frames, and whenever a particular page is to be loaded, so if all the 4 frames are not free, so you have to free a particular page or a frame in order to load the new page. But let us consider all the 4 pages are required, and if you replace a particular frame, so it is likely to create a page fault, because that is again is going to be required in the recent use. So that's why if the frame size is less or the number of frames is less for a particular process, so the page fault is likely to occur frequently. So here this leads to the low CPU utilization, means obviously the performance is going to be degraded. So operating system thinks that it needs to increase the degree of multiprogramming obviously, and another process added to the system. So this is nothing but thrashing. So what is thrashing? It's a process is busy swapping pages in and out. Means if the number of frames is less, so whenever a new page is to be loaded, so each time a particular page is to be swapped out, and immediately again that page will be required, so again that is to be swapped in. So continuously swap in, swap out, swap in, swap out, this activity will be carried out repeatedly. So this is the high paging activity, this is called as thrashing. So as we saw, this thrashing is going to lead for so many problems as we listed out here. So that's what here if we plot a graph of the degree of multiprogramming versus the CPU utilization, so at a particular stage, so the thrashing occurs. So at that time the CPU utilization will be very less, because here will be just deciding which page is to be loaded, which page is to be swapped out, which page is to be swapped in. So instead of performing a particular task, the time will be wasted in swap in and swap out. So the cause of thrashing. So why does the demand paging work? So here we have the concept of the locality model. The locality means it is the set of pages that are active and that will be used together in a particular process. So when a process migrates from one locality to another locality, the thrashing occurs, and the localities may overlap, that is the number of pages that are active for a particular process may overlap with the other locality or the other process locality. So why does the thrashing occur? So in general, if the size of locality is greater than the total memory size, the thrashing may occur. So next we'll see the working set model. So the working set model is again based on the assumption of locality. So this model uses a parameter A to define the working set window. So here The idea is to examine the most recent A page references. So here, so let us consider one particular factor, that is delta. This is a working set window which indicates a fixed number of page references, example 10,000 instructions. So here we have one more factor, that is WSSI, that is working set of process PI, which indicates the total number of pages referenced in the most recent delta. So it varies in time. So if delta is too small, so will not encompass the entire locality. So if delta is too large, will encompass the several localities. And if delta is is approximately equal to infinity, will encompass the entire program. So the D is equal to summation of this WSSI, that is the total demand frames. If D is greater than M, so the thrashing is going to occur. And here we have to have a policy. If D is greater than M, then suspend one of the processes in order to avoid the thrashing. So that's what our discussion. So here you can see the working set of a particular T1 is at till this particular time T1, the components are 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, because these are frequently used. But if you consider working set at time T2, we have only 2, that is 3, 4, because here in this span we have used only 3 and 4. So next is the phase fault frequency scheme. So here we have to establish a particular acceptable page fault rate, and if the actual rate is too low, the process loses the frame, and if actual rate is too high, the process gains the frame. So this is the observation. So here, as per this graph, this is very clear. So here we have the number of frames, and here we have the page fault rate. So as we increase the number of frames, the page fault rate is going to decrease. So it decreases the number of frames.